And missed all the emotions after a huge 4-2 on Tuesday night. The Carolina Hurricanes made some roster moves on Wednesday and added some personnel to the front office. And we also get to hear some post-game comments from the three stars themselves. That and much more on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Marina, and the Canes credentialed beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. I also am going to be doing a column on the Chicago Wolves called Wolves Weekly starting here very soon. The co-host of the Surge Cast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Like I said at the top of the show, we got a very exciting show for you guys on a Thursday as we get to hear post-game comments from Shayne Gostisbehere, Seth Jarvis, and Jackson Blake. Yes, all three of the three stars. We will hear from them post-game after the Hurricanes 4-2 win. And also we get to talk about players who are going to be reassigned to the Chicago Wolves, of course, with one of them going through waivers. And then very lastly, we get to talk about Chris Abbott, who will be joining the Carolina Hurricanes after his tenure in the SHL. And he is the twin brother of Chicago Wolves head coach Cam Abbott. But before we jump into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. So like I said, we are going to be jumping into we'll be jumping into the post-game interviews with Shayne Gostisbehere, Seth Jarvis, and Jackson. We'll get to hear from all three of the three stars as they give their insights into the game itself, and of course, talk about Jackson Blake's first goal. So without further ado, let's jump into the interviews now with Ghost, Jarvis, and as they call him, Blaker.
Did you feel like that game just kept building a little better? First period, not a ton. Second period, more came, and it looked a little bit more like a Hurricanes game, second versus the third.
Yeah, I mean, when both teams have like similar playing styles, it's going to be like that, a little feeling out process, especially in the first. They're coming off a back-to-back, so they're probably a little more tired than we were. And, it's just good to, play our way, play our system, and, play it perfectly. And, obviously got to clean some things up, but, that was what we could do out there.
How big is it to get this win before you guys have to go on this long road trip?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, we got a lot of new guys in here just to, buy into this system, just do your thing and, do anything you can to help the team. There's a lot of little things that, won't show up on the, the score sheet tonight, big blocks, big back checks, little things, that we notice and, what makes this system work.
You've been able to experience it before because this is your second stint, but for a lot of the new guys, this is their first win as a Hurricane. What was that feeling like for them, and what is the emotion like for that when you are in a new jersey?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, especially, when he came out kind of flat in the, the first one for our team, and, we knew we had better hockey in us, and, that was huge for us just to, get out there, get 2 points, like you said, before this big road trip and, get the first win of the year.
To see the rookie get the goal, too, and he's been so good in practice. I mean, just you had to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, everyone's going to remember your first goal. Like Roddy just said, we might not remember this game, but Blaker will for the rest of his life. I mean, him and his family, it's all the work, hard work that everyone put in to get him to that point, and, getting the game-winning goal was pretty cool, too.
What are your goals?
Can you walk us through your goals?
I think we just sustained pressure low. It was really good. They really harped on us keeping, tighter gaps. And, I was already down there. And KK made a great play behind the net and found Netchi, and Netchi found me. And, I was just trying to get the shot through. And thankfully, goalie slid the other way.
Was there a screen at all, or did you just use it?
I think it was their guy who was screening it more than anything. They kind of slid together, and I just pulled it around and shot the other way.
You got off a bunch of shots. You also broke up the 2-on-1 with Dawson Mercer, stretching every bit you had. Does some of that come from the fact that you've played 38 games here before? Are you feeling comfortable in this system, like you can remember most of it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, being here before definitely helps, but, just playing games again, really have to get used to it. I mean, it's a tough system in the sense you're always moving your feet, and, I'm a good skater, so it really helps me in the sense that, I could really, skate my way through the system.
Yeah, that was definitely not as cool as his, but, geez, that was special. It's fun to watch guys live out their dream like that, and you could tell by his celebration he was pretty excited. So it was cool to watch him. it couldn't happen to a better guy.
How would you rate his celebration?
Well, I understand the emotions and excitement going through his body, so I'll give him a pass, but probably a good 7 out of 10. I like the yell and the little blow by the teammates.
Is it weird for you not being that kind of guy? Like, you were in that role once, right? Like the young and up-and-coming guy, becoming a mainstay in the lineup. What's it like kind of be on the other side of it now?
I think I'm still on the other side. I'm not on the other side yet. But, it's cool. I think the one probably big difference is just I can give a little more advice to him. I've been in that situation, like you said. I kind of know somewhat of what he's going through and how he's feeling, so if I can be any kind of support to him or any kind of help, that's what I want to do.
How much motivation did you guys have coming in, especially you guys in the top 6, after having disappointing kind of outing Friday to kind of get on the board, get going as fast as you did?
Yeah, just honestly, a lot of it was just getting it deep early. I mean, especially with our line, like we have guys like Sveci who can rumble with the best of them, so as long as I was getting into him, I felt early, trying to get him going, get myself going, get Fishy going. I felt like we did a good job, and then it was just a matter of time before we started capitalizing.
Describe your goal.
A lot of frustration in that one from the shift prior, but, like I said, just kind of keeping it simple, getting to the net, and sometimes it works out.
Nice way to head off onto a long road trip, getting this win.
Yeah, huge win at home. Nice to give our fans something to cheer about and remember, so just excited to kind of get going on the road.
Do you and Jackson kind of have that big brother, little brother relationship? Like, you were saying, giving advice to him?
No, I don't think he really comes to me for advice. I don't blame him. But I hope he knows I'm here whenever he needs him, or whenever he needs some advice. Two different personalities, so I think we see the world a little bit differently, but he's an awesome guy and someone that I hope I can help out, and even if he doesn't need it, just knowing that I'm here for him is something I hope he knows.
Is work ethic the message? That's how you made your way onto this team, was your work ethic. It seems like that's how he made this team too.
He's got a lot more skill than I did, so it was a little bit different. He can really dance with the puck and make plays, so that work ethic definitely is kind of the number one, but for him, I think it's just not losing that confidence in his abilities. I think that goal tonight definitely helped.
There wasn't a ton to cheer about in that first game for you guys here at home, but did the new guys kind of realize, wow, this place is something different when there is something to cheer about?
I think so. Especially in that third, the second and third when we kind of got rumbling around for a little while. I think you could kind of hear the building erupt, and killing off the second half of that 5-on-3 was big, so it was just nice to get some momentum in the building, get some energy, and I think the new guys really fed off it.
Unfortunately, no, but they're watching from home, so.
What was that moment like? It seemed like pretty excited, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, I don't even remember it already. It's pretty blacked out after that, really. And, I saw Orly come give me a big hug, so that was pretty special.
It ended up being a game-winning goal, too. You got the double bonus.
Yeah, worked out perfect there. So.
It was just the way you kind of imagined?
I was just hoping it would come. I didn't care when or how. I just was hoping that, just go in for me, and fortunately tonight it did.
It's a lot of emotion for you on the celly too.
Yeah, I didn't even know what I was doing, honestly. I just saw Orly and I went to him.
What did Rod and the team say to you here and after the game? What were their words about you?
Yeah, he gave a speech after the game and said, from 20 years down the road, you're going to remember this, and, it's a pretty special feeling, and he still remembers this first too, and, that's something I'll never forget tonight, and it's a pretty special feeling.
And you seemed pretty comfortable from the start even. You made that play, setting up Barry Robinson and the first couple others. Did you kind of feel like maybe you were locked in tonight?
Yeah, I think every day I just get more comfortable, realizing that I think I belong here in this league, and, I got to show it every night. I think every day is a tryout, so I felt pretty comfortable tonight, and I think I'm just going to continue to feel that.
Is that the hardest thing? You have to have a belief that you can do this at this level at your age?
Oh, 100%. I think that's the biggest thing. I think you got to have faith in yourself. Obviously it's hard sometimes when you see guys like Jack Hughes on the other side, and you just got to remember that they're human too, and you can be just as good as those guys too. So.
What kind of response did you guys kind of have in regards to how you played in the first game versus tonight, as far as kind of playing your game, finding your game?
Yeah, obviously last game, we kind of left that with a little thing in our stomach. We weren't very happy with that, and tonight we all played with a chip on our shoulder. I think all 4 lines, every single defenseman, and Kuchi and Nat were unreal, and I think that's why we had success tonight.
The highs and lows of being a pro, what were you like in the box after that 5-on-3 goal goes in?
Yeah, it's not fun to walk the Shayne back to the bench there, but fortunately we killed the last part off, and then Seabass was able to put that one in the empty net. So that felt good. I was pretty pumped up on the bench.
Big thank you to the Carolina Hurricanes for making those available, and just awesome to hear from Shayne, Seth, and Jackson. Just going over the game in general and also getting their emotions of Jackson Blake's first goal. And the one thing that really stood out, especially from Shayne Gostisbehere, for the fact that you look at how him coming in for his second stint, and that's the thing I was really excited about coming into the season, is the fact that I've liked Shayne Gostisbehere since he was, a Philadelphia Flyer, then of course, now the former Arizona Coyotes. So when they got him the first time, I thought, okay, that's a great addition, really offensively minded, someone who really help the power play out, especially 2 seasons ago, and that's what he did. And then the fact that you bring him back for another run at it, and this time is a 3-year deal, and that's something you're really excited about. And for him to get his first goal of the season, that's really great to see. But just the fact that, too, you can definitely tell where it's like, while he's been through the system before, he still has to reassess or like readjust to the system again. Because you leave Carolina, you go to Detroit, now you come back. It's a completely different system. And he even said it too. It's like you have to be used to moving your feet all the time. Of course, he is a good skater. That definitely helps him out too. But it's like you're having to recondition yourself to be able to run the system that Carolina has. And that's the one thing I think it's kind of helped him out. It's where, he's a little bit farther ahead than maybe like Sean Walker and some of the other guys is in the system. But of course, it's still going to take time to get readjusted and kind of almost forget what you learned in Detroit and try to get back into what you did with Carolina for the first stint. But that's the one good thing about how the system works, is the fact that the coaches are willing to help you out. And of course, you got the other guys who've been there and done it. Of course, Jacob Slavin for a very long time since Rod took over. And of course, you got Tim Gleason, who's the defense coach. So it's not hard to learn from a guy like that who's been running the system with Rod for the last few seasons, and someone that everyone looks up to, especially the defenseman. So it's good to see that it's that Shayne's back, still doing his thing, and of course scoring his first goal of the year the way he did it, and like it's a just great setup from just Barry Kokoniemi and Martin Nietzsche to find him in the top of the slot and just being able to use Markstrom's teammates as screens to score his first goal. So you love to see that. But like I said, I'm just super excited that Shayne Gostisbehere is back. You got your first Ghost Bear goal of the season, and just something to where it's definitely someone I want to keep an eye on throughout the season as it goes, especially now instead of having like a 30-odd games going from the trade deadline through the playoffs, and now you got him for a whole season, for the next 3 years. So I'm really excited what he can do, as the season progresses and stuff like that. So I'm definitely excited to see how that works out. Then of course, listen to Seth Jarvis and how, he graded Jackson Blake's, celebration for his first goal. 7 out of 10 is pretty respectable, especially for the fact that your first goal ever in the NHL. But just seeing the picture, seeing the video of him tapping Jackson's head, and also Sebastian Aho doing it too, and just the emotion of everyone just celebrating with him after his first goal. He goes to the bench, and then of course with the celebration for the Storm Surge, it's awesome to see just the emotion behind it and how much the guys just embrace him already. And this is like his second, game of the season. You're not even like a half of a dozen games into your career, and then you're already someone that a lot of the guys really, love having there. So that just speaks to the culture of the Hurricanes as well. And then of course, listen to Jackson, just getting his emotions of the goal and stuff like that, still learning, very early on in his career, how to run with the Hurricanes as well. And, it's unfortunate his parents weren't in the house, but it's, still cool that he knows that they at least were watching. So definitely huge congratulations to Jackson Blake, of course, for his, first career AHL goal and being a game-winning goal as well. And of course, listen to, Seth and Shayne, give their, opinions on how the game went. It was very frustrating for the first game, come back in the second one, take care of business, get the win. And Shayne even said it too. It's a huge momentum boost for these guys. And I even said it too on Wednesday's show. It is a massive boost going on to the 6-game road trip that's got Pittsburgh, St. Louis, the Western Canada, and also the Seattle Kraken, just the second to last game of that road trip before they go to Vancouver to face the Canucks. So really awesome to hear from all 3 stars of that game from Tuesday night's win against the New Jersey Devils. So like I said, big thank you to Canes PR for being able to just put these audio clips in for fans to hear hearing the guys, give their opinions and stuff like that. Because it's one thing you're kind of, reading tweets or reading messages, but being able to hear from the guys too, I think is really awesome. The fact that the Hurricanes allow us to do that. So, speaking of the Carolina Hurricanes and doing a lot of moves, they have reassigned players to the Chicago Wolves. One has to go through waivers, but it's curious to see how that works out. So, make sure to stick here in a little bit as we'll be going over those players here on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page when you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Where can you do that? Well, you can do that at FanDuel.com. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said, ended segment 1. We were going to talk some players that are going to be reassigned to the Chicago Wolves. One of them has to go through waivers, and that is going to be Brendan Lemieux. Very surprising, to say the least. I was not really expecting Brendan Lemieux to be one of those guys that would be going down to the Chicago Wolves, especially in the fact when you look at the roster where Tyson Jost just went down to Chicago, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see if there's going to be any subsequent moves from the Carolina Hurricanes in terms of that aspect. I know, Riley Stillman's finally out of a yellow no contact jersey. I'm wondering, obviously he's going to be a healthy scratch. And of course he plays defense, but then you look at the forward core, like who's really left as a healthy extra right now if they sent Brendan Lemieux down. But, of course he has to go through waivers, and, will some team pick him up? I don't know. Maybe I want to be surprised if someone thinks that, they can give Brendan Lemieux an everyday shot on the lineup somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but he is, as of right now, on waivers to go to Chicago. Like I said, in terms of where the Hurricanes are at in general with their overall depth chart of looking at how that's going to play out in terms of where they're going to be at, it's going to be very interesting for how they're going to, especially with the road trip coming up, who's really, available for them. Because as of right now, their current cap space is $752,330. It's $752,337. Of course, with their LTIR pool and stuff like that, their actual deadline cap space is $3.295 million, and they have 21 of 23 active roster players. So it's just one of those things where, like I said, who are you necessarily? Are you going to bring someone up? Are there going to be? Is there a signing that we're waiting for? Because I'm just not really sure. Because Jesper Foss is on LTIR. You got Jackson Blake, you got Eric Robinson, Drury, Carrier, Roslovic, all of them. And as of right now, like you basically have all your forwards are already up with the team, and there's really no extra forward right now. And that was supposed to be Brendan Lemieux. Now, in terms of the defense, you got Orlov, Slavin, Burns, Walker, Gostisbehere, and Sheffield. Now, Stillman might be possibly back very soon. Of course, if that's the case, then you're looking at him possibly being your 22 of your 23 skaters, possibly. But it's just like I said, it's just, and then like, is there a call up coming? That's the only thing I'm curious as to how that's going to play into the fact for the Carolina Hurricanes. Are you bringing Tyson Jost back? Is there one of the young guys you kind of think that you want to bring up right now? Or like I said, is there a subsequent free agent move that's, even if there's even a guy available to bring in? I just don't really know. And like I said, yeah, you do have some cap space. Maybe that's what we're worried about. But like I said, they got the LTIR pull from Jesper Foss, so they have over $3 million in deadline cap. So they have almost $4 million. So it's just, I would definitely say wait and see what's going to come over the next couple of days. But like I said, Brendan Lemieux, as of right now, is on waivers for the assignment to go to the Chicago Wolves. And speaking of that, Joakim Ryan was injured to start the season. He has been cleared to come off of that and be available 4 games. And he's also been assigned to the Chicago Wolves, and he doesn't have to go through waivers. So he's already going to be going to Chicago. So there's another veteran player who's going to be going to Chicago. Like I said, he's had some stints throughout the AHL. Of course, just came back from Malmo in the SHL. So, the Wolves are going to add an extra defenseman. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out down there, too, with the fact that you still got Morrow and Sealy, Alexis Legault, Fensore. Another thing to keep an eye on, but, just bolstering some extra veterans for the Chicago Wolves. And now, like I said, the Hurricanes, as of right now, got 21 guys, possibly going down to 20 for the fact that they're still waiting for Lemieux to clear. So if you're bringing Riley Stillman in as an active defenseman. Okay, then there's your 7th D-man, and there's your 21st player. But then, who's your extra forward? I don't think you really want to go onto a 6-game road trip and having, 12 forwards, and that's all you got. So, like I said, it's one of those things where I would just keep an eye on to see what's going to happen over the next few days, if there's going to be any additions in terms of a call-up, or maybe it's just a paper move just to get some guys to be able to be available to send down, bringing them in, stuff like that. So, like I said, maybe Brendan Lemieux is the thing where it's just he's going to Chicago as a waiver move, and it's maybe just a paper thing, and he's going to maybe stay in Carolina. So who really knows? It's definitely been interesting, 24 hours as they have to go through all the waiver process and stuff like that. So we'll know this afternoon if Brendan Lemieux clears, and as long as no one takes him, and then what's the next steps after that. But, for Joakim Ryan, it's good to see him healthy, ready to go again. You're wondering how he was going to play into the fact for the Hurricanes, if he was going to be a 7th defenseman, or will he eventually end up in Chicago? And, of course, now we know he will be going to the Chicago Wolves and Cam Abbott. So definitely, wishing him the best down there in Chicago, and hopefully he helps out the young guys on that defensive blue line, and just going to be a voice that the guys can hear in the locker room as they get ready to go on the road to face the Hershey Bears, the 2-time defending Calder Cup champions. Now, speaking of the Chicago Wolves, Cam Abbott is the coach of that team, and there's been a recent news of his twin brother, Chris, might be coming back to North America here very soon, so stick around as we'll talk about Chris Abbott here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. And we're not talking just about sports, comedies, concerts, theaters, and so much more. So whether you want to go see a play on Broadway, you can get tickets for it. If you want to see Queens of the Stone Age, or Trivium, or whoever you are interested in going seeing, Gametime Picks can help you out getting those tickets. And like I said, you can even use that too for hockey, baseball, because I know the playoffs are still going on right now, and of course, the hockey season's going on. So why not use Gametime to find your tickets for all that stuff? And with the Gametime Picks, it also filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The one feature I really like is their seat viewfinder, where you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. So you don't have to worry about obstructed views or awkward angles and stuff like that. You know what you're going to be looking at from your seat before you even buy the tickets themselves. And another great feature for the app is if you turn on the all-in pricing, then this is a toggled feature to where you can see your total up front before you even go to checkout. So there's no surprise fees. You know your ticket, you know the fee, and you know the whole price up front. So make sure to toggle the all-in pricing up front to start off, so that way you are not being surprised when it comes to checkout. Because let's be honest, everyone wants to take the guesswork out of buying tickets, and you can do that with Gametime. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONAHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Well, it's Gametime. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money for on-sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. So sign up today and get $50 instantly. Play $5. You don't even need to receive the $50 bonus. You don't even need to win to see their $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week? Christian McCaffrey run more than 75.5 yards? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. And for me, it's so much easier because I can go look into a game and be like, okay, do I think Tyreek Hill will have more than 97.5 receiving yards, or will Saquon Barkley rush more than 67.5 yards? That's the one great thing about it, is the fact that you just got to pick more or less than whatever numbers are, and you might have a chance to win. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. And what can you do with PrizePicks? Well, with PrizePicks, you can run your game. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. It's like the end of segment 2. We were going to talk about how the Carolina Hurricanes have added another person to the front office, as Chris Abbott has been named the VP of Pro Player Personnel. And it's very exciting for the fact that, he has right now currently serving as the general manager of HV71 of the Swedish Hockey League, where he will finish up there before transitioning full time with the Hurricanes. And one thing about Chris Abbott is he is the twin of Cam Abbott, and they were both with Rogla BK, as Chris was the general manager from during the 27-18 season, and where 21 and 22, the Abbotts had Rogla BK finish first in the SHL's regular season standings and their first ever Champion Hockey League title of the CHL when they beat Tapara of the Liga in the final. Chris Abbott, after 7 seasons, did move over to HV71 to become their general manager prior to the 24-25 season. And of course, he played 9 seasons in the SHL after graduating from Cornell before he started doing some management. And like I said, now he's joined the Carolina Hurricanes organization with his twin brother, Cam Luke, who I said is the Chicago Wolves head coach. So the Abbott brothers are going to be once again reuniting after being over there in Rogla as the GM and head coach. Now they're going to be with Chris being the VP of Pro Personnel and Cam going to be with the Chicago Wolves. When asked about adding Chris on, Eric Tolsky said, Chris has a proven record in player evaluation and management. He carries a wealth of knowledge and experience that will be a great addition to our pro scouting group and our management team. We're thrilled to have him join our organization. And, Cam Abbott is 40 years old, and it's good to see the fact that he's having another new chapter in his career, and the fact that he's going to be reunited with his brother in some aspect with the Carolina Hurricanes, and the fact, like I said, he's going to be the VP of Pro Personnel. So another feather in their cap for the Abbott brothers, as they are going to be able to work together in North America with the same organization after winning a CHL title and, of course, the Swedish Hockey League regular season with the Rogla BK squad, who I'm a fan of the SHL. So it's really awesome to see that the fact that they're being able to reunite in some way, and the fact that Eric Tolsky is really relying on a lot of guys who have some wealth of knowledge, and that's, going from, just being players themselves and also being able to make way in terms of development and, scouting and just being able to win. It's because, especially in the SHL, it's huge when you go win championships, especially in that aspect of that league, and also the Champion Hockey League, which is essentially the hockey version of, the Champions League in soccer, if everyone watches that. It's basically the same thing as the CHL is basically what that is. It's just you get a lot of teams from around Europe playing that style of hockey, and you get your Champions League hockey champ. So that's how it kind of works out. And that was awesome that Rogla BK did win it in the 21-22 season. Of course, now he's bringing 8 years of general managerial experience from the SHL, like I said, with Rogla, now with HV71. So it's very, very exciting to see what Chris is able to do when he does come over full-time to the Carolina Hurricanes after, his stint with HV71 for looks like only his first and only season as a general manager from that squad. Big congratulations to Chris. Very happy for him. Very happy for his family. I know Cam is looking forward to probably having his brother Chris back in North America in the organization with the Carolina Hurricanes. But that will wrap up a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. And like I said, big thank you to the Hurricanes for letting us being able to listen to Shayne Gostisbehere, Seth Jarvis, and Jackson Blake get their post-game emotions from their 4-2 win over the New Jersey Devils. And hopefully everything works out with Brendan Lemieux and Joakim Ryan as they get to, figure out what's going on with their reassignments with the Chicago Wolves. If you want to keep up everything that's going on with me and my coverage of the Carolina Hurricanes, you can check me out at OneTrueZach. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. I do have a link to my bio where you can check out all my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to thehockeywriters.com, and that's going to be with everything with the Carolina Hurricanes and, of course, my Chicago Wolves column coming out very soon. There are links to my other podcasts, the Searchcast. You can just look that up on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. For this show, there is links to where you can find this podcast, but just go Locked On Hurricanes on all podcast platforms. Leave a 5-star rating and review. And if you do, I'll make sure to read it on the show. On the YouTube side of things, make sure to hit subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show, hit the thumbs up button. Let me know you like the show as well. And let me know in the comments, how do you feel about, the Hurricanes sending Brendan Lemieux down as a reassignment to the Chicago Wolves, even if it's a paper move or not? I know that's kind of an interesting aspect with, everyone thinking that he'd be a extra forward. So definitely, like I said, something to keep an eye on. Make sure to share this podcast with all their Caniacs who become everydayers just like you, because we are over 1,000 subscribers. I want to keep this rolling. Let's get to 2,000. Let's get to 5,000. Let's just keep this thing moving and grooving as the season goes along. And make sure to stay tuned, because I will be making an announcement soon on the accomplishment of us hitting 1,000 subscribers, because I'm very excited to do that with all you guys. I hope everyone enjoyed the Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. I hope everyone enjoys their Thursday. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.